When people are involved in high-conflict child custody battles, there may be frequent hostile communication, much of it in writing, which can be exposed to others or submitted in court. Therefore, how you respond to hostile communication may impact your relationship or the outcome of a child custody case. Here are some things to consider when you are communicating in writing. First, ask yourself, do you need to respond? Much of hostile communication doesn't have legal significance. The text or email itself has no power unless you give it power. Often it's emotional venting aimed at relieving the writer's anxiety. If you respond with similar emotions and hostility, you will simply escalate things without any benefit and just get a new hostile communication back. In most cases, you're better off not responding. However, some written communication develop power when copies are filed in court or simply sent to other people. In these cases, it may be important to respond to inaccurate statements with accurate statements of fact. If you need to respond, Bill Eddy of the High Conflict Institute recommends a BIFF response: brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Brief. Keeping your response brief reduces the chances of a prolonged and angry back and forth. The more you write, the more material the other person has to criticize. Keeping it brief signals that you don't wish to get into a dialogue. Just make your response and end your communication. Don't take their statements personally and don't respond with a personal attack. Avoid focusing on comments about the person's character, such as saying he or she is rude, insensitive, or stupid. It just escalates the conflict and keeps it going. You don't have to defend yourself to someone you disagree with. Informative. The main reason to respond to hostile mail is to correct inaccurate statements which might be seen by others. Just the facts is a good idea. Focus on the accurate statements you want to make in responding, not the inaccurate statements of the other person. For example, just to clear things up, I was out of town on February 12th, so I wouldn't have been the person who was making loud noises that day. Avoid negative comments. Avoid sarcasm or threats. Avoid personal remarks about the other person's intelligence, ethics, or moral behavior. If the other person has a high conflict personality, you'll have no success in reducing the conflict with personal attacks. While most people can ignore personal attacks or might think harder about what you're saying, high conflict people feel they have no choice but to respond in anger and keep the conflict going. Personal attacks rarely lead to insight or positive change. Friendly. While you might be tempted to write in anger, you're more likely to achieve your goals by writing in a friendly manner. Consciously thinking about a friendly response will increase your chances of getting a friendly or neutral response in return. If your goal is to end the conflict, then being friendly has the greatest likelihood of success. Don't give the other person a reason to get defensive and keep responding. This doesn't mean that you have to be overly friendly. Just make it sound a little relaxed and non-antagonistic. If appropriate, say you recognize their concerns and acknowledge them. Brief comments that show your empathy and respect will generally calm the other person down, even if only for a short time. Firm. In a non-threatening way, clearly tell the other person your information or position on an issue. For example, that's all I'm going to say on this issue. Be careful not to make comments that invite more discussion unless you're negotiating an issue or want to keep the dialogue going back and forth. Avoid comments that leave an opening, such as, "I hope you'll agree with me that." That invites the other person to tell you, "I don't agree." Sound confident and don't ask for more information if you want to end the back and forth. A confident sounding person is less likely to be challenged with further emails. If you get further communication, you can ignore them if you've already sufficiently addressed the inaccurate information. If you need to respond again, keep it even briefer and don't emotionally engage. In fact, it often helps just to repeat the key information using the same words. In conclusion, using Bill Eddy's BIFF response, brief, informative, friendly and firm with your high conflict ex and co-parent can save you time, money in legal fees, and emotional pain. Adapted from Bill Eddy of the High Conflict Institute and produced by the Law Center. Look to the description portion of this video to learn more about them.